everyone. It's Faith Rivera here on Aloha Rising, where we talk mana, music, magic, and more. So it's just a few days till December 25th. And today I just want to do another episode, kind of like a follow up. I believe it was my second episode that was simply about feeling good. So today is going to be about feeling good for the holidays and feeling good, in authentic ways, really, is what I want to talk about. So, first, let's start with the idea of feeling not enoughness or feeling lack, especially when this holiday is so much about buying gifts and getting gifts, this material stuff that I feel, many of us can feel that not enoughness. Like, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. Well, Abraham Hicks has a quote that simply says, "The rich keep getting richer because they feel rich." And I know it might just seem like a, you know, surface kind of an idea, but if you really look at what that's saying, there's so much truth and power behind it because the same as that, I mean, on the other side of that quote is it could also be said, so the poor keep getting poorer because they feel poor. So if you do believe that you are a creator, in your life, that you're responsible, not responsible, that you are in charge of how you are experiencing life. Um, then there's something you can do to change that feeling of lack. And so how do you do that? Well, first you expand your definition of what riches are. You know, maybe you're rich in humor, rich with like the cutest pets, rich with the most loyal friends, rich with the sunlight that you feel every morning, or maybe if it's snowing where you are, you're rich with this beautiful falling snow. You are rich with the buttery, hopefully it's buttery bed sheets that you sleep in. We are rich with shows to watch and books to read. So I think you get the idea. Really, the key is authenticity, meaning to feel that richness in real ways for you. And so I guess I'm already going to start with a dare. I dare you just to try that. Try that. They say it takes like 21 days to really break a habit or break an old way of thinking. So 21 days just to give that a try, to feel rich in authentic ways. And I promise things will shift. And I mean, at the very least, I know you're going to feel richer in many ways if that's all that happened. You'll be swimming in, hopefully, appreciation for all these gifts and riches in your life. But at the very most, you're going to start to see some physical manifestations in your life, including the impact that kind of appreciation and gratitude make on your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health. And the universe will begin to deliver evidence to you of what you've been saying to the world and saying to yourself, that you feel rich. And the universe will say, "Oh, here, ba boom, ba boom." I don't know why the noise is ba boom, but you get the point, that you will begin to experience riches in other ways that are meaningful to you, in physical ways. So that's one way. I think that you can feel good if you're feeling some of that holiday lack or not enoughness. Hey, why not springboard off of that that challenge, because it is challenging to feel that during this holiday, but springboard off of that to really, you know, set your sights on a life that feels richer. Another um, problem or challenge people go through during the holidays is missing loved ones. I know I've had friends that have lost people like really recently around these holidays. And what I want to share, I've said on other shows, but maybe may not have heard it. In recent years, I've actually heard people share with me that they are closer now to their loved ones who have passed on than when they were together in real life. I remember this one lady that really caught my attention when I first kind of heard this. Uh, she said, "Oh, yeah, I mean, my dad, was really rough when he was alive. And she goes, but now we're better or something, or like we're closer now. And I was like, what? I had to like take a second look. And I've heard that from a few people now. And one, is that possible? That I can't convince you, but let me say this. If it's a possibility, why not buy into it enough to try and see how you could maybe nurture a relationship with a loved one that has passed on because their body and their flesh has returned to the earth. Their I even feel like maybe, a lot of their ego is gone, but really, I don't know if it was Einstein, but science says like you can't energy just transforms. Energy is not non-existent. So their energy is somewhere. So why can't it still be with you? Is what I'm proposing. So Solux, my pop R&B band, we have a holiday album called Solux Christmas, and we have a song on there called Wish on a Star. And it's about missing that loved one, especially all the memories of opening gifts and, whatever your traditions were with this loved one. Um, and when I was writing the lyrics to the chorus, I just thought, what if in that missing, you begin to fill, fill those missing parts with that love that you feel present now? And it's your love for them. But also, what if feeling into the love they are still shining down on you? So, you can go find that song. Maybe it'll bring some comfort. But the question probably is, how do you nurture a relationship with someone who's physically not here, And I think just one easy answer to that is, like all relationships, they need time, focused time of being in the energy of that person. So maybe you can slowly start shifting, those feelings of missing into recalling like the best memories with them and how you feel when you were with them. Maybe you start talking out loud. Maybe you start laughing with them as you talk to them. Some other ideas that I've seen people do is, if you have a favorite tree, maybe you have a plant in your home, maybe you go and buy a special plant that reminds you of them, maybe the color of the flower, or something that reminds you of them, and you name that plant, your loved ones' names, and you can have an ongoing interaction with their energy through this plant. Because I know it helps us, because we're physical, right? To have a thing to focus your energy on when you're talking to them or reminiscing about you know uh, a memory you have. Also, if there is a special animal to that person that you love, for instance, like I love butterflies. My friend Judy, our producer of this show, there's something about her and her dad, I think, with the red cardinal. But you could start looking, for that animal, and when you see it, not only remember them, but maybe, and for now we can say pretend you're interacting with them, but who knows, right? If energy is present everywhere, I would like to say you probably are interacting with them, because all you need is that intention. You could also go and visit those places that reminds you of them, especially if you feel like you want to honor them during the holidays. And of course, many traditions and religious traditions too, you would light a candle in their honor. But just these ways to really be in the present moment with them, with their energy, and how you feel about them. So I hope that might, I don't know, jog some ideas for you of how maybe you could continue to nurture your relationship with them. Now, this one, I know I every every holiday I'm like, I know I'm going to be better. But it's just what is it about December, the holiday stress, right? The packed parking lots. My brother-in-law told me they went I don't know, some ridiculous time, 6 a.m. or earlier, to stand in a line at Home Depot for, was it 3.99 poinsettia plants? And he said that line was packed, right? And not to pick on the grandmas, but with many of them senior citizens. And I wasn't prepared for him to say, it was not nice, or he either said it was ugly, something, but that's like what I was left with. I was like, really? They were all like, you know, getting into it to get their sale price. So I'm sure we've all been there. I don't know that I've ever fought for. Okay, no, I haven't been there, honestly, but maybe you or you've seen others there. But there's something about the holidays, the busyness. And it's funny because we're being busy kind of in the name of love and giving nice gifts to each other. So that's, well, anyway, we'll talk about that later. And not to mention all the outer things going on, specifically. And, I don't know when you're going to listen to this, but specifically for December 2025, there was a horrific shooting at Bondi Beach in Australia when they're about to, I think it was the first night or celebration of Hanukkah. And around that same time, there was, of course, another shooting in the U.S. at the Brown University. But as Marianne Williamson said, everything, or in Course of Miracles, sorry, maybe she got it from there. Sorry, I want to thank anyone that had had a part in this idea, but that, every action is either love, is a loving action, or is a call to love. So, but anyway, I'm sharing about all this craziness because my question is there a way when these things happen, whether it's our own, you're fighting for your poinsettia plant, or there's another horrific thing going on. In fact, I didn't know that we are actively bombing many people in many places. Um, that's a lot. Okay. See, so that's I'm feeling that. So is there a way, I'm going to talk to myself, that I can take a pause, you can take a pause, and we can reset, we can tweak, we can shift the usual knee jerk reaction, whether it's judgment or whether it's blame, and even the knee jerk reaction. And I don't know if you're going to hear this the way I mean it, the knee jerk reaction of that type of compassion. And there's probably a better word for this, but when compassion becomes, I don't have a verb for it, when it becomes us jumping in the boat that's sinking. Does that make sense? Where we become so engrossed in the pain and the hurt that our own frequency, our own light is diminished. Can we be different, as things continue, and they will continue to fall apart on a collective level and individual level, as things heat up, as things become volatile, sometimes blow up. I mean, we see it being reflected in Mother Earth, right? The recent volcano eruptions, because they will continue. So here are some ways that I feel we can make a shift and begin to transcend, um, whether you want to call it the stress and then the overwhelm and the chaos going on as things fall apart. This is not earth shattering. However, it can be, if you commit to this, to find a centering practice for yourself. So I will offer some things, but there's so many resources out there, okay? For instance, Andrew Weil has this breathing technique, and it's simply breathing in for 4, holding for 7 counts, and exhaling for 8 beats. And we can do that right now. Why don't we do 3 of those, okay? I'm going to invite you to inhale nice and deep and slow, and hold that breath, and exhale. Nice inhale, and hold, and exhale. One more inhale and hold and exhale. So finding a breathing practice to help you pause, and you can feel yourself jumping in the sinking boat or getting mad at the person taking your sale, your sale item. Okay, so that's one. Another is the brain heart coherence. And please, look into it and research it. The Heart Math Institute. I hope I'm saying that right. And we'll definitely have information on that. Also, Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden. You can look them up. But it's this practice that I'm sure the indigenous people and peoples way before us had done, because you don't need anything but yourself and the intention to slow down. So you intentionally breathe. You place your hand on your heart, whether you want to like fold your hands on top of each other, or make the prayer mudra pose, whatever it is to simply touch your heart, which by the way is like the second brain, and that's a whole other episode we have to do. But your heart carries so much. It is the key. It is the key, I believe, to us flowing into our future is the power of our heart. Okay, so your hand is on your heart and you're breathing intentionally. Again, you can do this with me. I should have said that. And you can just bring to your heart and to your mind and your heart's mind, uh, something that you're just easily, hands down, thankful for. You just want to bring it so close to your heart, this person, this thing, this environment, this circumstance. And you just want to let it fill you up. You want to milk it. You want to feel as good as you can with this thing that you just love and you're just so thankful for. I know we could do this for longer, but hopefully you got a taste of that. But this is a very short, easy practice you can do anywhere. And in fact, begin to program yourself that when you're starting to feel off, you're about to like dive into that fear. And, all of this comes from because I need to practice this, right? That you stop. You stop and you place your hands on your heart and you breathe and you be thankful. Yeah. So that's a great way to center ourselves. Next, have your go-to song that talks you off the ledge, right? That reminds you of love that's present right here and now. And explore these healing frequencies that they are now putting into these beautiful music pieces. You can Google or on YouTube search binaural beats or solfeggio tones. You can, in fact, even put in the thing you're trying to alleviate, whether it's stress or an earache or I don't know, achy back or something. Believe it or not, most of the time you will find something to address specifically that. You just chill out to it. Maybe you play it in the background. Another idea is to find your form of meditation, that works for you. I feel like even yoga, a practice like that, or Tai Chi, puts us into this meditative state. And it's just about quieting what they call that monkey mind. Some people swim. You might need guided meditation, which, your brain is actively, it's thinking, but it's listening and surrendering to, a guided meditation. You could go check out Michael Beckwith. He has some, especially on his social media, also Dr. Sue Morter. So many options. In fact, there's an app called Insight Timer, and Skip Jennings, who has been my co-host on other podcasts, has amazing resources on there, as well as his website. I know being in nature is super meditative, and I'll talk to myself too. I don't go enough for what my soul wants and what my well-being wants. I don't go be with the trees or walk in the sun, although it's been rainy in Hawaii, but you can find nature. You can, I have our kitchen window. I have these air plants, and I have I have a little frog and a crystal. There are places, hopefully in your home, and if not, you can create it, that can just make you feel that way. I mean, I don't think it's the same as being in a forest or being at the ocean. However, let me take that back. The physical way it looks is not the same, but the way you feel, you can get yourself there. I know that can be the same. Yeah. And also for meditation, I do also want to offer Abraham Hicks. Their practice is simply 15 minutes of breathing in for 3 counts and exhaling for 5 counts. I remember a practitioner from Agape International Spiritual Center told me when I was taking a class there, because she traveled a lot and I was traveling a lot then. I said, I don't know, I'm just running from plane to plane, this and this. She literally said, Faith, you can do this, because this is what she would do. She would go into the restroom, go sit on that toilet, breathe for 3 breaths or something, just center and remind yourself what's important to you. So yeah, I can't say enough, about finding a centering practice. Something else you can do to help, uh, again, with all of the chaos around us and the busyness, one is to clean out that social media feed. If you are on social media, whoops. So you are not bombarded by all the breaking news. I mean, I've fallen into that, world where everywhere I looked, and it's hard not to click when you're seeing some kind of visual that just grabs your attention. So we can, like, the little X, you just press it, or actually press the thing that say you don't want to see stuff like that. But we have to consciously be our own filters in this world where, things are just streaming at us. Yeah. And of course, if you still watch the news somehow, I know because we don't, either really limit your time, um, or don't watch it anymore. Uh, yeah, I won't go down that road, but let me offer this. My son, Kai, he's 14 years old. And I don't know why I don't know if this was a good call. You guys will have to tell me as a parent, but I just heard about the Bondi shooting. And part of me, parent, was like, well, I have to tell him what's out there, you know. But then there was another part like, I don't know if I believe in frequency and that our own vibration magnetizes to us what is ours to experience, then maybe I don't have to say it. Well, anyway, in that moment, I told him about it. Do you know what my son said? He goes, this is the perfect time for me to go here. And he opens up his YouTube on his phone, and their name is Good News. Uh, and he said, and I was like, what is that? And he goes, oh, this is just filled with like all kinds of great news, from like scientific breakthroughs to stories of people doing amazing things for each other. This is what my 14-year-old said. He was filtering. I mean, he didn't say like, be quiet, mom. He was just like, he heard about the shooting and he was like, let me get some good news. I mean, let's follow that. Let's follow him. So if you want to actually see that channel, you just go youtube.com, and I'll put the links below, but it's slash at good sign good underscore news. And that's it. I think that's a great idea. um, and it's about purposely and committedly looking for good feeling news, good feeling songs, movies, books, shows, looking for good feeling people to be with and doing good feeling things. The last way that I'm going to spend a bit more time on, the last way that we can, I was going to say combat, but no, that's not the end, that we can transcend, or maybe move through these shifting times, the chaos of the holidays, and really the chaos of our world as we're being birthed to something new. By the way, there was a very useful um, imagery for me. The idea of like when things are just getting so like, oh my God, what is, our planet's imploding, or, you could feel that way with everything going on. It's like a birth. It gets messy. So we're in the messy phase, we just gotta keep molding our minds around this so we can have, that gentle water birth. Is there such a thing? The gentle birth, those videos maybe you've seen where the lady like laughs her baby out. I mean, I wanted that. I didn't have that. That's a whole other talk. But it was a good experience. So anyway, back to what I was trying to say. The last way I feel we can flow through this birth that's happening right now is being more of who you are. And let me explain this. Let me explain this a little bit. So this summer, there was a point where I had two travels kind of back to back. There was Focus Hawaii's Fashion Week Hawaii that my daughter is a model in, and I'm the MC. And I had one day home, or like part of a day home. Maybe it was one day home. And then the next day I had to fly out to Missouri to Unity Village for the Empower Music Fest. Now, there were two very big events, and usually I would just, or I could be, stressed, even though there was really amazing events. I could just be really stressed. And so the saving grace for me was that I decided not to get lost in the busyness. And this is where I think it applies to, the holidays and these busy times. Um, but not to get lost in it and not let myself get so stressed out that to get everything done that I like kind of forget the whole point of why I'm doing any of these things, right? Which is to support people, to connect people, to love people, and to enjoy in the moment. And I know, I'm sorry I'm going into so many tangents, but I'm hoping, I'm feeling like each of these pieces will have something for you. So why I had an aha is about this, and why it's an important aha for me to continue to be with and to practice is when I graduated high school. And my parents are amazing, parents, they're from the Philippines, very strict. I went to an all girls Catholic school. They were on me, to do well, to do really well in school. And so I was a leader. I was the president of my high school. I won all the talent shows. I got the good grades, all this kind of stuff. So here I am standing at my big graduation party. It was like a warehouse. There were like 200 people is what I remember. And I'm standing on the stage looking at all the people saying thank you, for being there, all this. It was the loneliest feeling I'd ever had. And especially as a young girl, there was this uncomfortable feeling. And what it was this realization that I'm thanking all these people, all this busyness I've had serving and supporting people in the many ways and through my gifts. I didn't feel any connection to them. I was like, I don't know any of these people. It felt so empty. And so I'm forever grateful for that moment because it was such a strong one that will never fade. And I think that's why now that I'm, fast forward many decades, before I went on that trip, I was like, wait. I don't want to feel that way again. I don't want to feel empty. I want to feel filled up while I'm being busy. Be filled up while you're being busy being the mom, a caretaker, while you're being busy, with your job or dealing with whatever you're dealing with, And so it made the difference for me, um, that I intended and chose beforehand. Before I entered the not war zone, but you guys know, the busyness. So I'm offering that to you is intend and choose beforehand, before the holiday party that might make you feel whatever, or before you slip into the holiday blues. Maybe if that's something, a pattern you have, maybe before you start judging yourself for not getting everything done this season. In fact, like my mom, I love my mom. She's older. She's 80. Can't do math. 80, like 83, no, 2005, whatever. 84. My mom is 84. And her shoulder is hurting again. Her right arm, that she writes with and does everything with. And she was, when I've been talking to her, she's just so frustrated because I know she's feeling the pressure of letting people down because she's not getting everything done. So, anyway, if, if before those things unfold for us, what if I decide in advance how you want to feel, how you want to be ultimately, and then just focus on that while you're doing all the stuff. I promise it's like you're guaranteeing your success, right? And it's not that there's not going to be mix up or messes or even a little stress trying to meet deadlines, but I'm hoping with that intention you'll enjoy it in some way, and be able to look back like at the end of it, just know that it was a success because what matters most to you shone through. Is there a word, shown? Because of your focus. hmm So at these events, like at the fashion show, I'd be running from place to place trying to get answers, right? Trying to find the designer, find the model. I have to find Swan. Swan is our amazing agent from Focus Hawaii. And I found myself running, and then I physically told myself, I'm like, wait, stop. Then I started to walk and I looked around, and then I actually talked. I talked to parents, I talked to the models, I talked to our VIPs, I acknowledged the sound team. And it was so different, to be present, to be with this team, to be with the people, and not before I used to be all about the list instead of the people. And and then at the Empire Music Festival, I made a point to sit down when we had meals, because we have all our meals together, to sit and have a real conversation with the other artists and music directors instead of what I used to do. If I did go to the eating place, what is it called? The cafeteria, the dining hall. Um, I would be eating just so fast, trying to get to my next appointment or prepare for the next whatever it was. Now, I don't know what's most important to you. Um, but I know it has to do with love and people, and has to do with you expressing your gifts and your natural, all those natural things about you, whether you're like the really funny person, the really caring, compassionate person. Um, I think that's where it is for us, you guys. And just to remember that when we get lost in, all of that busyness. Um, so that's my pitch to you, that I think you'll feel better too if you ultimately find ways to express the love that you are, the joy, and the gifts that are unique to you. And I promise you that even if your gifts are not apparent to you yet, they are there. They're beyond the problems, or maybe they're beneath the problem, wherever they exist, no matter the problem, um, no matter the seeming lack, or maybe during the holidays you feel this loneliness. There's you. I mean, there's your gifts, but there's you, the gift that is you. And that those gifts in you and the gift that you are, you just honestly, you want to flex. And yes, the ego part wants to be seen, but mostly I feel like we want to flex those parts of us and experience what it is to do that. Now, I know many of us grew up with the nativity scene, right? Around Christmas, where there's baby Jesus in that manger. And it was, Advent, this season of Advent was all about waiting for that Christ child that would ultimately be the one to save us, right? In the Christian faith. And in fact, there are many people waiting right now, literally, for a second coming of Christ. Well, that second coming, believe it or not, is in motion right now. And Jesus is our example, not the exception. The Christ consciousness that he demonstrated, it's rising in all of us. I mean, if you look at astrology and what's going on with the planets, I mean, and on the beyond the planet, what's going on with all the planets. Okay, let me say that again. Dang it. Sorry, honey. I got to do this again. What am I trying to say? Again, put this after there are people waiting now for the second coming. Well, let me say this. The second coming is in motion right now, right now. And Jesus is not the exception to the rule. Jesus is our example. And that Christ consciousness that Jesus led with, right, and lived his physical life with, it's rising in all of us now. And it has the potential to be fully poofed, fully, what's the word? Activated. Yeah. If you listen to astrologists, or listen to science people who are talking about what's happening in our cosmos, in the planetary alignments, and if you just even look at all that's happening on planet Earth, I think you'll see that something epic is happening, this birth to something new. And as I said, I believe that Christ consciousness is rising in those of us. Well, it's available to everyone, but it will rise in those of us that are willing to align with our authentic power. And what is that power? It's the divinity, that God stuff that lies within each and every single person. You know, Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within. So it doesn't exclude everyone. Everyone has a within, right? I know my logic is not that foolproof. Sorry, guys. But I think that makes sense. Um, he also said, you will do greater things, right? Than even he did. And why is that? Because it's our nature. It's the nature of the cosmos and the universe to evolve. So I believe the second coming that is happening through us and through our choices and through our willingness, it's about our full acknowledgement and then our expression of that divine nature. And what is more divine than love, right? For us to be here now as things are shifting and breaking apart so they can maybe break through to something new, um, it has to be that we are being, what's the word, elevated. Well, I don't know, that sounds like something's doing it from the outside, but we are allowing this evolution to happen through us, you know, so we can live from that love and that divinity that we are, that we breathe and we walk and we talk and we behave and we think and we express from that love. I hope it makes sense, because I know it could just sound like a lot of nice things. I'm not saying nice things here. I'm saying freaking real stuff. You know, when Jesus said, I am, that's that's the key. It's that, what do we fill that blank with after that? I am is the infinite spirit of God or source expressing as you. So please be mindful of that, you know, because I mean, I see it too. We all are, you know, say those things where we fill in the blank of I am with things that maybe that are not authentically true of us. We might feel it in the moment. Um, but I love what Lee Harris has to say. He's a energy intuitive and a transformational teacher. And in fact, I've heard many different types of teachers echo this same sentiment, including if you look at Chinese astrology, right? Year of snake this year, next year, year of horse. But this idea that 2025 was a year of completion, which could also mean the ending of things, and possibly the end of, not possibly, but the end of the old that doesn't serve us. And that's what we're seeing happen right now. And that 2026 is about that newness, it's about the new beginnings. And so as December comes to a close, Lee Harris suggests, why wait for the new year? He was saying December right now is ripe for us to start planting those seeds of those dreams, to start writing and thinking about and feeling about what is that newness like? What authentic things and ways of being really matter to you? Because we need to be that intentional, that focused on those things that matter, you know, so that we can show up not new, but show up true. Yeah. I mean, the truth of who you are, authentically you. So, yeah, I guess that's the punchline is you're the greatest gift planet has ever known. And now we just have to convince ourselves of that truth. So that's the dare. And personally, this is what's interesting is only recently have I realized that in normal life, when I'm being a parent, mommy, out in the grocery, just doing things here, in my neighborhood, I don't talk about my music or my podcast. Um, and Judy, the producer of my show, is asking why, and I was like, why? Yeah, why? A part of me, some of the ego things I have saying is, as growing up as an Asian girl, you don't like, promote yourself or be like, look at me. And also maybe the mom in me, like, I don't want to feel like I'm overshadowing my kids. Like when I'm at volleyball practice, or I forget where I was with Izzy, and then they wanted to hear my music. I don't know what the heck that is. It's like I don't want to overshadow people and make them feel bad or something, or I don't want to stick out. So everyone, just throw that away. I'm sorry, I'm adding that to all my many things I'm telling you to do, or inviting you. That's better. I'm inviting you to do. Um, Throw away that caca. Because of course, our world doesn't need more boastful people, boastful in the sense of, I don't know what their intention might not be pure, but if we are coming from our heart, from a real sense of wanting to serve and support, we all, meaning me too, and you, need to proudly shine. Shine with all the love that's in our heart. And for me, that includes my music and my podcast. So I'm currently in that dare of authentically being true. So I hope that made sense, that all those ways of thinking and being and the dares can help you have a holiday and maybe even a new year, have a Christmas that is like meaningful and maybe even transformative. Because why not? Why not? I want to end today's show with this beautiful and powerful global blessing from Kumu Leina'ala Brown. She's my Kumu, and she wrote this for the solstice, but I think it carries so much wisdom and focused intention for where we want to go. So I'm going to invite you to take a breath in and out. Feel yourself here and now. I want you to open your heart and feel this with me. E nā kanaka o ka honua e ho'olohe mai. Today, across all lands and all seas, may the breath of peace settle upon every heart. May the light returning to the world return also within us, guiding our thoughts, our words, and our actions towards compassion and unity. May Aloha rise like the sun, warming the places within us that have grown cold, tired, or forgotten. May harmony weave between nations, between families, between each soul and the next. A net of peace strong enough to hold us all. May we remember that we are one planet, one breath, one human family moving together through the great turning of time. And may the sound of aloha, your sound, my sound, our shared resonance circle the earth today. And I'm going to add, and every day, awakening hope, restoring balance, and calling forth a future rooted in love. Aloha ke kahi I ke kahi. Aloha for one another. Aloha for the world. Aloha for all generations yet to come. Divine love, peace, harmony, joy, prosperity, and abundance adorn us all. E ama ko ama ma ua noa. Imua mauli ola mau loa. Aloha no, aloha mau loa. And so it's done. Second coming is here or happening through us. Thank you for tuning in. I wish you the most magical, meaningful, fulfilling, transformative, I said it before, but I mean it, transformative Christmas holiday, Hanukkah, Ramadan, Kwanzaa, and all the beautiful, beautiful ways we celebrate. If you like or maybe even love this show, this particular episode, or my podcast, please share with others. You can find it streaming on every platform and, of course, also on YouTube, the video version. Just love you all. And I know the love that you are. How's that? I see and acknowledge and embraced and so appreciative of the gift that you are. So go shine, be that gift in the world because you are loved and you are loved. Keep flowing. I almost forgot about this. Keep growing. Oh, that was a different way to do growing. And keep knowing the light that you are. Aloha.